Hello, I'm Frank Crane, and I am a counselor with the Counseling Center. And we're going to be talking briefly about conversation starters, words, ideas, things that can start off a good conversation one way or the other. And it reminds me of an important story. Way, way, way back in the old days, there was a company that sold insurance to farmers. And the deal would be an insurance salesman from the company would come out to the farm and he'd be invited into the living room and he'd sit there with the family and he'd sit there and look at them and they'd look at him. And the problem very often was, now what? And the salesman would say, well, what do I say now? Oh dear. So the salesperson, he or she, might be in a really difficult situation because they'd never had this experience of starting a conversation on a topic. And so the company developed Forth, and that is FORTH. And those letters stood for family, occupation, recent events, things, hobbies. So how's your family today? How are things going? Yeah, I heard that your little one got a ding on his knee there when he fell out of the tree, but he's okay. I can see that's really good. I'm glad. And then, my family back home, we were always kind of careful about that. You get a little thing going about family, and it works. The other is occupation. What are they working on? What are they doing? And take it and go with it. Another interesting one is recent events. Wasn't that amazing that person won the prize for the best apple tree? Or that was a really interesting thing at the bake sale. He had the best chocolate cake. I couldn't believe how good it was. And all that stuff, news for farmers or news for the people in that local community. And then the other would be things. And things could be your beautiful Garmin watch or that incredible John Deere tractor, or that's a really solid looking truck you got there. And then the final piece would be hobbies. So what do you guys do for fun? Yeah, I love to fish myself. I love to go fishing in the stream. It's really good. I hear it's very good out here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so in this way, using the magic word forth, you could break the ice and have something to talk with to your clients before you moved on to the topic of the insurance policies. So problem solved by an acronym, which was Forth. Now, there's a related acronym that people have developed. One is FORD, and this is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Dreams would be, well, what do you want to do when you get out of here? What are your hopes for your future and after you graduate from Embry-Riddle? And again, Ford can be flexible. F could stand for friends or family back home or something like that. Doesn't necessarily have to be the family in the living room with you. So you have ideas based on the first letters of these words that form the acronym. Then there are sort of 3-word groups, like, for example, one is history, philosophy, metaphor. So if we say wristwatch, you could say history to yourself, and you can think, well, let's go back in the past. Is there something in the past that I could use to talk about wrist? Years ago, I had this terrific wristwatch. It was waterproof. It was shock-proof. You could drop it off a cliff and it would be fine. And I remember I ran over it one day with my car and just loved that watch to pieces. Awful thing was I lost it. Still haven't found it. So you tell a little story about your wristwatch, going into the history. And then philosophy would be, you look at whatever it is, and you say, what's it mean? Well, what does it mean that we're wearing these watches? What does it mean that we have all these cell phones telling us what to do and what time it is and everything like that? And then metaphors might be, well, they're kind of like our boss. And, you come up with a metaphor like that and you move the conversation in that direction. Another one might be specific, broad, and related. So you could, somebody mentions the word wrench. You're talking about a wrench. Okay, well, you mean a Stilson wrench? You mean a pipe wrench? You mean a, XYZ wrench, monkey wrench? Specific aspects of wrenches. Broad. Well, wrenches, they're very important in doing plumbing. And I know adjusting pipes, you need a combination of some good, on and on. And then related things. Well, I'm really looking forward to getting a new toolkit. I do some wood carving for hobbies. And I'm getting a whole set of carving knives and clamps and things like that. I'm looking forward. So the word itself can suggest specific, broad, and related applications, or something that went on in the past, or something that it means in the big picture, or something that it might be a metaphor for. Right? A tool is a way of access to something, and so forth. In general, I would say that it's good to have a lot of ordinary stuff about the ordinary place where you are that you can begin to talk with the other person about. Like, wow, it's really crowded today. I wonder how long it'll take us to get to the front of the line. Or, it's a really interesting way that so many of the students have these little table events and gets you to know the clubs a lot better, whatever, so you're commenting on what's in front of you. As a practice, you might want to consider pretending you're giving a little tour of the campus from time to time. And in your mind, you're talking about different things that an imaginary person might be interested in hearing about. And of course, you step back and ask them their thoughts about the thing, and so on and so forth, using the rules of good conversation. Anyway, this is just scratching the surface about things you can do to have something ready to talk about when it comes the moment to talk or to introduce a conversation. Okay, this is Frank Crane from the Counseling Center, and hoping that you and I at some point will have a good conversation. So take good care.